Right, okay, so thank you for joining me. It's been a bit of a week. So I wanted to begin the stream with a playthrough of everything I have so far. Let me just press stop. Mainly because I wanted to have a listen to where I've managed to get to. So, if you're one of my patrons, thank you very, very much. Then if you watch the Patreon live stream on Friday, then you will have heard some of this before. But this is something that I need to share with everyone because last Tuesday, so a week ago, I did a live stream, and I was putting down the bass guitar for this project. Now, by the end of that live stream, I didn't have all of the bass recorded, but what I did have was I'd recorded a bass part for all the sections of this song. So I just needed to I'd recorded verse 1 and the pre-chorus and the chorus. I just needed to copy those parts over, play them in again over to the later verses and choruses, etc. I'd put down the middle bit, and the next morning when I came to finish off the bass, I put down the rest of the track and I finished the bass, and then I thought, you know what, I think I could do something a bit better with that middle section under the solo. And so I came up with a part and I went for it like an alternate take, and I didn't play it in quite right. So I pressed stop and I pressed undo to erase the rubbish bit I'd just recorded, right? The slightly out of time new take. And when I pressed undo, Cubasis crashed. Now, Cubasis very, very rarely crashes for me. On 2021 M1 iPad, 1TB model at 16 gigs of RAM, it very, very rarely crashes. And I use Cubasis a lot, and I know what I'm doing with it. I rarely have any problems like that whatsoever, which is great, because when Cubasis 3 first came out, it was like crashy, crash. But anyway, right, so it crashed. And so I just, went to relaunch it. And I relaunched it. And then when I tried to relaunch the project, Cubasis crashed again. And so I tried to do it again. And it crashed again and again and again. And I could not get my current project to open. Now, I hadn't done a backup. But you see, in Cubasis, it saves all the time. In a way, you don't really need to make backups. I mean, obviously you do, because if I'd made a backup, then, it might have saved the day. But I'll as I explain more, you'll see why I say you don't really need to make a backup, although you do. Anyway, right? So I could not get that project to open, and so I'm like, well, I don't know what to do. I've lost a whole lot of work, because the last backup that I had made was just when I got to the end of putting all the MIDI together, right, before I started recording any audio whatsoever. And I always do that. I always save a MIDI only project, because sometimes, you might want, let me just turn my mic down a bit. It looks like it's peaking. Sometimes you might want to go back to that MIDI, after you've changed things. When you have brilliant ideas and you change stuff and then you realize it wasn't a brilliant idea. So I always save that MIDI. Right. So what do I do? Right. Well, I tried to find a way of rescuing the thing. And then I remembered Cubasis 3 has a backup folder, so it saves a couple of recent auto backups that it's done. So I went into that backup folder and tried to launch the couple of projects that it saved there. Now they open fine, but unfortunately when they open, all the audio is missing. It's like it's there, but it's not. And I'll show you what I mean, just in case you've never experienced anything like this. I did take a photograph. So now where is that photograph? There. Right, so here it is. Let me just zoom this in a little bit, and you will see that where there should be audio WAV files, there's just crosses, right? So yeah. And when you play it, right, there's definitely no audio there. And when you look at the file size for the project, right, it definitely doesn't contain any audio. Now, thinking about this logically, the audio that's being recorded is still in Cubasis. It's got to be in there somewhere in a folder. But the backup project, for some reason, can't see that audio. So what can you do to restore it? Well, so here's what I did. Let me just get rid of this and go back to Cubasis. Before, I forget that image on screen is actually a photo and not actually Cubasis, and I'll start putting my finger on it and trying to do something with it. Right, so I tried a bunch of things. I couldn't find a way to get Cubasis 3 to recognize that audio. Now, when I looked in the audio folder, I found some files that were labeled Songtember 2024 and then the name of the instrument, because I'm fanatical about labeling things. So I thought, oh, right, there it is. I just need to pull that audio back into the project. So when I pressed on those bits of audio and auditioned them just to check that they were the right files before I moved them in, and I would then know what track to put them on. Well, they were not from this project. They were from a previous project. So somehow, when this crash has happened, things have gone seriously wrong. And some files from an old project, which I intend to come back to and finish working on because it's promising, have been relabeled with the wrong title. So that's no good to me. And I can't find the correct audio anywhere. So my friend Samuel Lindemann suggested to me that what I could do is, if I zip up the backup project in Cubasis 3 and send it to my desktop, I could open it in Cubase, and maybe Cubase would be able to open it and I'd be able to see the files, and then I could send the files back to my iPad. So I tried that, but Cubase couldn't open this project. It did. It opened the project, but there was no audio present. So I tried zipping up the project that had actually crashed without opening it. I just zipped it up and sent that to Cubase. Cubase could not open that project at all. But while it was on my desktop, I noticed in the folder for that project, there was an audio folder, and I went in there and it looked like all the files, all the audio files from the project were actually in there. So no deleted files, just actual audio files that were present in the project when it crashed. So I thought, right, hang on. So I've zipped that up, right, that project up on my iPad. So that folder is present on my iPad. So I will go into that folder on the iPad and drag the audio back into the project. Right, so I open up files, I do this. Look, I go like this. I go to my file thing, and I go to the top, and I do the slide over thing. And let's use this view here, right? Use the slide over thing. Then I open Cubasis, and then I navigate to the folder that has that audio in, and then I just put my finger on each piece of audio and drag it into the project, right? So I put all the audio into the project, and what I did was, when I did that, I sort of, I found guitar one, dragged it into the project, and I put it like next to guitar. Where's guitar one? There. And I just put it at the end of the project here. And so I did that for all the audio that was present in that folder. And I just put it at the end of each track. I thought I'll put it at the end of each track. And then once it's all in the project, then I will move it to where it should be. And it's going to take a bit of time, but it might be quicker than re-recording everything all over again. Plus, I can't necessarily remember every single riff and every lick that I played. So I pulled it all in like that. Then I needed to go and do something. So I had to end that session for a while, closed Cubasis. When I came back to the studio to carry on, I opened up Cubasis, and what had happened was Cubasis had then repopulated. So all those blank bits of audio with the crosses through, it had repopulated them with the audio that I'd pulled into the project. So then I went to the side of the project and I deleted all the audio that I'd pulled in. And then I had a look through the project to see what audio was now present and what was still missing. So some guitar parts seemed to have just gone. All the bass had gone, and the vocals, bits were there, bits weren't. And also, what I'd done was, when I'd recorded that scratch vocal, I'd done it in bits and pieces because I didn't know I was going to sing it. So I'd sung a couple of lines. Oh, that one's okay, that one's rubbish, I'll delete that one, chop that up. Right, I'll have a go for the next line, do it a few times, get a bit that I like, save that, erase the rest, and so on and so on. So my scratch vocal was all in little bits of chunks of audio. And where I'd pulled that into the project, Cubasis it looked like it had restored it, but all the edits were all in the wrong places. So when this crash happened, it had really seriously corrupted this project, and it had lost a lot of stuff. And it also lost the automation. Now, I'd done a lot of sort of mixing as I went along, which I wouldn't normally do. If I was working on a project just for me and I wasn't live streaming it so that people could hear it, I wouldn't bother about mixing as I went along at all. I'd do that all later. But because I'm live streaming and I'm aware that people are listening, I want it to sound okay for people that are watching, so I do a little bit of mixing gradually as I go along. And so I'd used a lot of automation in doing that, and that had all been messed up. So basically I had to start all over again. But it doesn't really end there, because if we backtrack, if we look back to when the problem started, there was always a bit of an issue with this project. And it started quite early on in me recording audio. I kept saying while I was streaming, and particularly in the first Patreon stream I did with this project, the CPU, if I just show you down here, right, you see here where we've got the system info, we've got the CPU and the DSP. Now, currently CPU is showing 2% and DSP is on 0. Now, while this project was resting, i.e. not playing or recording, it was like spiking. The DSP was spiking all the time. If I'm honest with myself, I knew there was something wrong. And what I should have done was, I should have stopped progressing the project. I should have gone through it instrument by instrument, and I should have found out what that problem was. I should have nailed it down. But because for me, I can't start Songtember until about a week and a half into September, because the beginning of September is just so busy for me. I'm aware that I'm kind of behind, and I'm trying to get things done quickly. And so I'm not exactly rushing the making of music, but maybe I'm ignoring some of the fundamentals. And so I was seeing this DSP spiking and wondering what it was, and thinking, oh, it'll be all right. I'll just carry on. I'll just put down another 12 guitar parts, And there were some slightly strange, weird glitches happening in Cubase's, which I do not normally see in Cubase's. So I decided what I should do, having restored quite a lot of the audio, but not all the audio from the project, I should start working through all the instruments in the project, all the AUV3s, because I got a lot of channels that were MIDI with AUV3 synths and effects and all kinds of stuff open. So I thought, right, one at a time, I'm going through all these instruments. I'm going to render everything to real audio. I'm going to commit to some sounds. And then when I've done all of that, hopefully I'll find out what the problem was. And then I can carry on with recording audio in, right? So I'm working through everything and went through all the drums, no problems at all. Went through all the synths, no problems at all. And I've more or less done everything. But then when I looked at these two guitars here, these are the clean guitars, right? So if I I'll just do this and just remind you which guitar part we're talking about. There we go. Right, so talking about this. Right, so that guitar part. Now, you see, now that I've stopped that DSP has gone straight back to 0, and that's what it should do. But it wasn't doing that. It was dancing about all over the place. Dancing DSP, we called it on my Patreon. So anyway, so when I got to that guitar, I thought, well, it can't be anything in here. What had I got? I got Nambrini Audio's double reverb. I'd got Ringatron, and as a send, I was using the Waves H delay plugin. And I thought, well, it can't be that, right? Because, it's Waves, and it's an in-app purchase in Cubase's. That'll be rock solid. It's not going to be that. But I'd run out of options. I'd run out of other things to eliminate. So I started taking these things out of the project, having saved my presets in case it wasn't them, and I could bring them back in. And as soon as I got rid of H delay, the DSP went to 0. So it was that. Now, if I'd taken that time out earlier on in developing this project to find out what it was and get rid of the offending plugin, none of this would have happened, and I would be a week further on by now. I would be ready for releasing this track now. So, lesson learned, okay. So then, obviously, once I've got rid of that, then I replace all the lost guitars. I record the bass again and start trying to get some semblance of a mix that's fairly close. And this is where we've arrived now, right? So, okay, so you've heard the playthrough, and it's starting to sound, well, like it did a week ago, except that the mix is not as close to finished, but we have bass now. And I'm very happy with the bass part, but what I've done, while I was doing that playthrough at the beginning of this stream, I made a few notes myself about things that I feel are not quite right. And what I want to do today in this stream is I'm just going to look at a few details, because it's very easy when you feel rushed with the track, to sort of just miss a few things that you might have done. And there's nothing worse than having recorded something and released it, and then you hear it sometime after and you think, like, I wish I'd done this, or I wish I'd taken time out to do that. And some of my old projects, some of my old tracks, I hear them and that's what I think. And I don't want to feel that. And I just decided that the point of Songtember is to encourage people to finish a track. That's the whole point of it. Pete Johns thought about this because so many people don't finish tracks. They start loads of projects and they don't finish off any tracks. So the idea of Songtember is to encourage you to see it all the way through. It doesn't matter. There's no prize if you complete it by the end of September. It's not a competition. I would like to finish and release it in time for Pete Johns' stream where he plays all the tracks, but at this point I think it's probably unlikely, because as of yet I need to record the vocals. This track right now, the only real audio it needs recording is vocals, and then we're ready for mixing, right? But it's quite a hard vocal for me because I'm not a great singer, and I don't want to rush it. I want to get it right. I want to have some harmonies on there, and I want the mix to be good. And I don't find that we do a good mix in one day. What we do is we mix, and then we think it sounds awesome, and then we leave it, and we close the studio up, and then you come back to it the next day, and you listen to it again, and you're like, oh my God, that sounds terrible. The bass is too loud, and I can't hear the guitar solo, and blah, 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 blah. And so you tweak it some more. And then the next day, the same thing happens again. Fresh ears, you tweak some more. It needs time. And I really don't want to rush it. I want this to be great, because that really is the point. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go through a few details, a few bits and pieces, and I'm just going to try and refine things. So before I continue, I just want to say hi to Leela. Thanks for being here, Leela. And hi, Semtex. Semtex is probably slagging me off because he's heard me many times talking about freezing tracks and rendering stuff to real audio and committing to sounds and getting rid of those AV3s. But I was rushing, I was determined to get the track done. Take your own advice, hippie. And who else is here? Hey, Audible, thanks for joining us. And now I'm sure I saw someone else in the chat. Let me just have a look. I just need to scroll up a little bit. Oh, hi, Yellow Eyes. Yes. Dude, thanks for being here. Now, there's only a few people in chat, but there's a lot of people watching according to the YouTube software. So, if you're watching and, just don't be shy. Just jump in the chat and just say hello, just so I know who's out there, and it's just nice to know who's here. Okay, now, we're half an hour in, and all I've done is play the track and waffle a lot. So, anyway, I've caught you up on where I'm at. So let's get stuck into this track and deal with a few... Oh, hi, Brad. Dude. Sounds great, does it? Well, thank you very much. Well, in that case, let me just do something here. I made some notes of things... Look, I'll show you. All right. If I go to this overhead view here, right, I have the Darth Vader book here. This is the book that I make all my notes in about stuff I must not forget to do. And as long as I remember to look in the book, then I don't forget to do them. So I made some notes during that opening playthrough of things I want to check on. So I'm going to have a look at some of these things today. Jamie, you need to add chicken to those waffles. What are you talking about, Audible? Does anyone know what Audible's talking about? Okay, so let's choose something. Yes, let's go with. If I go to. I'm not going to forget to run the advert. As if I would forget to run an advert and attempt to actually make a little bit of money out of YouTube. Where's the middle bit? Right, okay, middle bit. Yes. We'll go here. In fact, if I just press and hold on middle bit, you see what I've done here is I've kept my MIDI from the SR88, which is doing the drums at the end, and the rest of it is all from One Shot. I've kept my MIDI even though those apps are now gone because I've rendered to real audio. Because the MIDI is all labelled, so I can use it to locate various sections in the track, right? Forgot you might not know that's a southern food pairing. A southern food pairing. Is it? Chicken and waffles? Really? Chicken and waffles? No, I'm not feeling that. I mean, I'll eat more or less anything, but for me, waffles are for like sweet things on, you know, like they stick a load of treacle on them or something like that, you know? Dude, it's a strange thing to eat. Anyway, middle bit, yes, guitar solo. Let's take it back one bar, and then I want you to just listen to the middle bit where there's there's a lot of drums, right? It's a tom-tom part. There's a guitar solo over the top. There's a synth. And there is a bass part which is kind of staccato, just following the kick. I want to know what you think to this pattern here. I've heard it a lot of times today. Does it really fit? Maybe I need to come up with a different bass part. Maybe I just need to add some instruments to it. Maybe it doesn't sound full enough. Maybe I need a different guitar solo. Maybe the guitar solo doesn't really work. So just have a listen to it for me. I would appreciate your opinion. I'm just going to zoom in on the guitar-y solo bit. Yeah, it's there, look. Okay. There we are. Right, have a listen. That really fast bass part at the end there, by the way, I realise that stands out a bit prominent. That's because I'm picking so fast. It's really, it's just loud. Let's have a look at the bass waveform there. There, look, that there is where I'm playing that fast bass part. It's like. It's how many notes is that? 8, 16. It's only 16 notes, but it's 130 beats per minute, and I'm really digging in there. But the bass is I've not got any effects on the bass at all yet. There's no amps on there. There's no compression or anything yet. So that will be sorted. Do you like that? I wanted it to go a little bit sort of, a little bit left field, a little bit strange, maybe a little bit proggy, without the bass being too busy, because the bass is already quite busy in this track, and I like what I'm doing with it, but I didn't want to make it, I didn't want to make the bass too exciting while the guitar solo is going off for obvious reasons, right? So. Nobody thinks the guitar solo section sucks. Okay, maybe I've just listened to it too many times today, and I'm just I'm hearing problems that aren't there. There is this bit though at the end where the bass plays up an arpeggio. Maybe it's because it's not in time with the guitar solo. No, hang on. No, wait a minute. So that note is take or snap to bar. That note is there. It is perfectly in time with the lead guitar note. Okay, I'm hearing things that aren't there. All right, maybe it's okay, right? And so after that section there, I have got the guitar harmony part coming in. So I'm playing the tune from the chorus on the guitar, and I've got four harmonies rather to it. So without the without soloing it sounds like this. Right, now if I just go to my mixing desk here and scoot across, so the first harmony is a third. I've played it in twice, one's pan left, one's pan right. Right, and then there's a fifth harmony, which one's pan left, one's pan right. So all the harmonies together. And put the melody back in. Right, okay, so I'm not 100% fixed on the sound or the mix of those yet, but you know what? It's close. It's close to what I want. Now, down at the bottom of the project here, you'll see. So let's see now. That is the last track in the project that's actually active. All these others down here are frozen tracks, MIDI that I've saved and stuff like that. So none of these tracks below track 52 are affecting the project. So, okay. So we're all right with that. Prog to Queen. Yes. Yeah, well I thought if the guitar solo section was a little bit odd, a little bit prog, a bit left field, and then we go back into the chorus with a Queen style, from minor back to major, because it changes key in that section. It goes back to the key. The key. What the fuck am I saying? That's a little car, isn't it? Hit the key of the track. Yeah, anyway, I think you know what I'm saying. I hope you do, because I'm just talking bollocks, really. Now, I had an idea. Let me just work through my list of things. Okay, so I thought that in the introduction, the Poly 800 type sound was too loud. So that would be just here. Right, so let's play from here and I'll show you where it comes in. No, not there. Here. I wanted that to be just a little more in the background. I don't want that too prominent. It plays a more prominent part when we get to the verse. And I think it's the right volume in the verse. In fact, we should check the verse, shouldn't we? That would be around about here, I think. Yeah, you can hear it now. Okay, so I'm going to turn that down a little bit. I'm going to do that with a bit of automation because I don't want the volume to change in the verse. So the way I would do that is, if I go to my mixing desk with the track highlighted that I want to change, go to mixing desk, there it is, right, and it says the volume is currently minus 3.83 dB. So now I go to automation and to automation editor. Right, there's no automation on track 25 so far. So now we have to scoot all the way down this very big long list and find track 25 volume. And then I'm going to draw a node. Is that where the verse comes in there? I'm going to draw a node just here. And then we need to move it so that it's the same volume as was set before. I can't do it with my mouse. Oh, maybe I can. There, that's near enough what it was. So now I can put another node just before it. Let's select off that one. Draw here. Right, so we'll drop the volume just before it, just a little. Oh, I just had a thought. Actually, maybe it'd be nice if that sound shot up in volume, actually, over that last bar there. Hang on, let's have a listen. Maybe that could rise in volume, actually, from about here. And just help to bring it to something of a crescendo there. Right, let's see what the volume of this is like now. Yeah, I still think that's a little too loud, so just bring that node down a little bit. Come on, mouse. God, I fucking hate this mouse, honestly. Ah, there we are. It did something. Okay, we'll try again. Wait a minute. That's not right, is it? Let's just bring the playhead over here. Right. Now, there's no wonder it's not right. Because that node is too loud. Come on. Aha. Right. Now. I did this one wrong in the first place. About there. Okay, now we'll drag this one down. We should actually hear some effect now. Okay. Better. Much better. That's much more in the background like I wanted it. And so now we should hear that volume going up here. You know, I think I'm going to have that sound go up quite drastically here. See what happens if I do that. More. That's better, right? And then what we'll do is we'll just bring it back down here. It's a bit louder than I had it before, but I like it actually. I like that loud just there. I might leave that for a while, live with that, and see if that makes me happy. We need to run an advert. All right, Semtex. Okay. Advert. Let's do an advert. Where's my mouse? The other mouse. Okay, I'm going to run an ad. So if you are a YouTube premium type person, then you will not get an ad. If you do get an ad, then as soon as you can get back to the chat, let us know what you saw and just let us know that you're back. So, I can stop talking bollocks while you're away. Okay. So, if you've not been taken away from me by an advert, then I'm supposed to have something prepared to waffle on about while people are watching an ad. But today, all I've been thinking about is trying to get as much of this project sorted and kind of putting things back together, just Audible's got chicken and waffles ad. Magic. Okay. So I've just been really, really focused on kind of just trying to get the project back together so that it sounded something like okay for you people to listen to tonight, because all I could think about was if you watched my stream last Tuesday and then you watch it again tonight, then it's not really moved on an awful lot since then. In fact, in some ways, it's kind of regressed. Yeah, we've got bass now, but the mix has gone backwards. Right, so let's have a listen to that verse with that louder Poly 800 type sound in here. Oh, get rid of that mouse before you create some kind of disaster. Right, now, in a way, that sound in this first verse section is kind of too loud. But one of the notes that I made while I was having a listen during the opening playthrough was that the general volume of the verse is far too quiet in comparison to the rest of the track. If I do a little comparison for you, so where does the chorus kick in? Right, round about there. Okay, so if I go like this, look, I'll play a chunk of the verse, and then we'll jump over to the chorus to compare volumes. Right, so although it's supposed to be a subtler sounding, the verse is supposed to be mellower and subtler, it's really far too quiet overall. So I do need to bring up the volume of some things in that verse. So having brought up the volume of that synth, let's maybe bring up a couple of things to match it, because have you noticed how loud the kick sounds in that section? It's just way loud. Oh, by the way, Leela, what time are you starting your stream this evening? Because I've arranged the dump for you, right? But I forgot to check what actual time you're starting. Oh, Brad says my guitar player ended up with a kidney stone. Ooh. So he needed some time off, and I won't get my song done in time. I still have to redo my vocals as well, but it'll still come out, just not in time. Well, yeah, that's the thing, innit, Brad? It's about finishing the song. It's about completing a project, and as long as you complete it at some point, you have successfully done September. There's no point in rushing it and it being lesser than what it could have been. So I hope your guitar player, whoever it is okay and recovers from that soon. I know a kidney stone is a painful thing. Fortunately I've not had that myself, but I do know someone who has. Right. So what was I doing? Completely. Oh yeah. Right. So did you notice how loud the kick was in the verse? Madness. But the kick is the same volume as it is in the rest of the track, so obviously the other instruments need to come up in volume. 20 past. But you'll be pissy panting about for about 10 or so. I do like it when I hear other people say pissy panting about, particularly when Pete Johns says it. That really makes me smile. Is the verse about here? Okay, so maybe the volume of those two guitars could come up, and also the volume of that synth in that section. So let's just have a look at what else is in that section. We've got, let's put a little loop around it, then we know what section we're dealing with. We'll come down here. So we have got, the choir is also in that section. Right, and what's the volume of the choir like there? Yeah, I can already hear the choir pretty clearly actually, because I've already done some automation to make the volume of the choir gradually rise throughout the introduction, which I thought was quite clever. Right, now we've got this bass sound here. Right, now maybe that could come up a little. Right, now where's the other synth sound for this section? Is it? It must be that one. Indeed it is. So, go to the mixing desk, bring that one up a little. Ooh. The tiniest movement made a big difference on that one. Right, and then the guitars. Where are those clean guitars? There they are. Let's try moving those up a tiny bit. You use your fake British accent. Well, as long as it doesn't sound anything like, what was she called? Daphne on Frasier, which is the worst British accent I have ever heard. Ever. Now, so that's brought up the volume of a few instruments in the verse. Hopefully that will help to even it out. Obviously, I can't get too accurate here. Once I've got the lead vocal in, then we'll really start getting into the nitty-gritty of mixing. But there's no harm in bringing things that bit closer and just, generally balancing it. I could do with getting into that bass sound, but there's a few other things I made notes about. Oh yes, right. Okay, back to the introduction. The lead sound in the introduction, the one that I think I labelled it Blade Runner lead because it just sounds so Blade Runner. Is there any automation on this one? I don't think there is. There's not. Okay, so I'm free to mess about with the volume on this. This is way loud. Right, okay. Let's listen to the introduction all the way through. But hang on. So, a quick check. I think I've looked at everything that I need to look at. Just see what you think to the volume of the arpeggio. Because I didn't want the arpeggio to be too prominent. I wanted it to be another layer that was there that wasn't. I want you to be able to hear it, but I don't want it to take over. It's very much just an extra feature and nothing more. So let's have a listen to that introduction. And see what we think to the levels. Anything you spot that you think should change, point it out. Throw it in the chat. All right, so what you got to throw, Audible? What do we think? The only thing I think is I'm not sure whether the synth that is playing the bass part, the low droning notes, couldn't be that little bit louder. But, I'm on headphones at the moment, and I tend to judge things like that better through my studio speakers. But, you think it needs some more bottom on the choir? Well, let's see what it's like if I bring up that low drone. Then that might be the thing, and I think it's this one here. Hey, Matthias, have you got a note? I'm going to bring that up and see what you think. It's that one there. Okay. Right, yeah, okay. Personally, I'm happy that I think bringing up that low drone makes all the difference. Although I will have to check it through my studio speakers, which is when I really make decisions about low end, particularly drones. They just never seem to. I can't. I can't complete a mix on headphones. I can get it pretty close, but when I'm just not good at finalizing stuff on headphones. I find if I get it as close as I can on headphones and then I put the studio speakers on, you know, I, that's when I really nail stuff. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. The verse sounds better. Now, I had an idea for the pre-chorus um because this is cyber metal after all, and we want some of those slightly more cyber kind of sounds coming in. I thought that the open hat was a bit loud, so that's not my idea, but um, it's connected. So let's just go here. Right, open hats. All right, let's just solo that hat. And we'll just take it down the tiniest bit. Right, and now on solo. That's better. Okay, and right now open closed hats. I want to loop around some closed hats. So that will be. Actually, if I go up here, pre chorus part 2, that should be right. And then, right, the hats stop after bar 74. So we'll drag that. Oh, let's snap to bar. Okay. Alright, now, hats, solo. Right, okay. Is everything all right, Mateus? It's not. It's not like you to be. It's not like you to be late. Mateus, everyone is. I have to say, my my most committed follower, Patreon and friend. He's been an absolute diamond. Because I couldn't do any Patreon streams for some time. There was some stuff going on I'll not get into. But I just couldn't do them. When I started doing the Patreon streams again, obviously everyone had got out of the habit of being there. And so I thought, there's probably going to be nobody there, right? But I will do it every Friday, 12 o'clock lunchtime UK, and I'll do it until people start joining in. And Mateus he's the guy who's always there. At first, when I first started doing it and no one else was there, Mateus was there. And so at least I had Mateus to talk to. So thanks for that, my friend. Right, okay. I want that to do something a bit more interesting. Maybe it could sort of have a filter on it or something. Some kind of mad filtering thing. Because, it is cyberpunk influenced after all. Now then, let's see. I'm just going to type filter in here. Let's see what we've got. Filter. What filters have we got? Quite the choice. Filter Jam is nice and simple. Let's try a Bliss filter. Let's just try that and see what we have in here. Have we got anything cool? kind of close to what I'm thinking, you know. But obviously it's doing it over too long a time, but... Oh! I like that too. Almost a stalker, yes. Indeed. But some people like being stalked. Cool. If that filtered over a longer time, that'd be great. Right, okay. Where's my robot? Robot talking. Alright, let's see if we can piss pants around with this and make something happen. I want... Right, so it's a fully wet mix. Okay. I haven't used this for ages. Do I have any idea what I'm doing at all? We want it to move much more slowly. And we want it to sync. How do I make this sync? I can't remember. There. Right. Now, this lasts for 6 bars, doesn't it? So, can I do 6 bars on here? No, but I can do 4 bars. Can I do 3? No. Alright, no problem. I don't want it to go as high frequency as that, do I? Ooh! Do I want that one or this one? That one, I think. Right, now. Oh, I see. Right, so I need to have it. Right, okay. Okay, I can do that. Right, let's draw something in then. Now we've got it working. Ooh. That's a nice idea, actually. Bit crusher. Yeah. Okay, that makes it more interesting. So yeah, let's add a bit crusher to that. Good thought, my friend. What have I got? What have I got? Bit. What have I got? The bit crushers. Oh, hang on. What if I use thingy? You know, thingy. What's the damn thing called? I'm gonna have to have a look. Come on, Warrior. Ah, right. Doctor Vibe. Stick that over here. Right, now the only thing is now, Bliss filter, I'm hearing the original sound and the affected sound, and it's fully wet. So how do I get less of the original sound? Alright, let's see what it sounds like in the mix. So I can use this to gain stage this instrument. So, okay, take the mute off then. There, that's better. Right, okay, so now if we just play from the beginning of that bit. Right, that's great. That's great. It just adds a little bit interesting extra movement. And now the hi-hats come back in over here. Let's see what it works like over this section. Right, okay. Now it's too loud, but it just adds a nice extra little bit of coloration into, everything else. It's about the little details I find, like what I was saying earlier is it's too easy to get, you're near the end of finishing your project and you just want to get it done by that point. And there's all those little things that you could have added that just make it that bit more special. And it's subtle little things. Sometimes it's things that you don't hear on your first few plays of a track. And you come back and listen later and you notice something new. All right, yeah, I like that. That's cool. Excellent. All right. Well, thanks for watching tonight, everyone. I know it's not been the most fascinating, most amazing, productive stream ever, but I wanted to explain to you what happened to me, the mistake that I made, how I learned from it, and basically give you a warning not to make the same error. So if you use a DAW that autosaves, don't just rely on that, right? Make your own backups, right? Because there may come a time when you will be very pleased that you did. Thank you, Jade. Thank you very much. I am going to leave you all with a playthrough of the track. If you want to abandon me before the end of it to go and watch Leila's stream, obviously, I totally get that. I've set up the dump, so thanks once again for being here. I'm not going to stream tomorrow. I was going to stream tomorrow lunchtime, but I thought, I need to get the vocals done for this track, so I'm going to do them then, right? And then once I've got the vocals done, then I think I'll be ready to really start nailing the mix, and I'll do some streams about that. All right, so thanks very, very much for being here. Enjoy Leila's stream, and I'll play you out with the track. See you later. Bye-bye.